Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hearthstone. Boy, I'm on the wrong screen to start here. Anyways, we still need Druid and Rogue things. Last time we tried Rogue, so let's try Druid this time. I think we may have a problem here where we're going to actually not finish in time. I'm also not certain if I'm going to run it, if I'm going to be able to finish all the topics. I talked last time about how Craner, a Minecraft YouTuber, was imploding for a long time. He's
be preserved.
Probably ruined his YouTube channel and gonna get me to unsubscribe, but he may just be on the first step of ruining his. Maybe he can turn around. But one of the things that I didn't even cover on that, and I'm still thinking about it, is just how he made a vlog trying to control his audience on YouTube. Man, you can't control nobody. I can barely keep myself under my own control, let alone the YouTube audience. Like, you're not gonna get people to not thumbs down your video. You're not gonna get people to play nice in the comments. You can flag them, you can block them, but you're not gonna stop them. It is way too easy to make a YouTube account. It is way too easy to get a friend to do it. It's way too easy for somebody else to come along and replace the one you flagged or blocked.
Do you hear its call?
Don't try to control your audience in general. Like, if I had the weird thing with my channel, of course, is it only has 100 subscribers. But if I had all 100 subscribers watching one video series, and so like that video series was getting 100 views, let's say it's Skyrim, because that's the most likely one. I'm not gonna be able to convert my audience to go from Skyrim to the other channels, to the other series very successfully. I'm not gonna be able to make the Skyrim fans go to my point and click series or Hearthstone series or whatever else is there. And plus, all those are retrospective games and no single player story games. So even if I got people onto who are fans of Skyrim and then convince them to move over to one point and click series, that point and click series is going to be done, and then the fans will just go away.
Challenge accepted.
So give them what they want, which is to say, of course, if I had 100 views on every episode of Skyrim, I would just continuously play Skyrim, and this would be a channel that has Skyrim continuously played in the same way that Hearthstone both necessitates constant playing to stay up to date, and it gets a decent amount of videos. Not the vlog video episodes, they still don't really get any views, but anytime there's a big expansion, they do. And one would hope at some point in the future,
a tale of terror and tragedy all the while.
The fan base that watches my event Hearthstone things would get pushed into watching my episodic Hearthstone. But I can't control my audience. I wouldn't want to control my audience. If I had full and complete control, maybe I'd just force my audience to always watch my videos, and maybe at that point I would make a moderate amount of money each week, like $100, $200. If I could get it even up to like $1,000 a week, that's a living wage right there. Which
drink with me, friend.
Is certainly something I'm not getting right now. I'm getting about 60-70 cents a week, which every rolling 7 days, 60-70 cents, which frankly, way better than the penny a month. Way better than what it was 2 years ago when we started, but
Where
not
shall I strike?
anywhere close enough. So, yeah, that would be the control I would want, is just watch my videos. Watch my videos, hate watch my videos, love watch my videos, I don't care.
Unleash the beast.
Alright, what do I want to do here?
Challenge accepted.
For the wild.
So let's talk about some other things. New York Times has made an Oregon Trail-like game about voter suppression.
I must safeguard.
So let's just cover what voter suppression is and how it works. A lot of things can be claimed as voter suppression. A lot of things were clearly defined through the courts as voter suppression. Not directly legally defined as that, like it's a legal term, but as biased laws that directly disenfranchise specific classes of characters. But voter suppression is an attempt to have less turnout
For the wild.
of a certain class of people. So often, and historically this was very true, often this is African Americans in the United States. But more in general, it's minorities, and it's typically lobbied as something that's done by Republicans a lot more than Democrats, because with more people voting, Democrats, everything else being equal, Democrats benefit more. So what they used to do in the old days, it's long since been made illegal, is they would give literacy tests that you could not possibly pass to African American people and say you have to pass this test or you can't vote, and there's no way to pass the test at all, so you would not be able to vote.
Sick 'em!
So that is one way it certainly was done. Other ways now, the ways in more modern times are a bit more nefarious. They say you have to have these two forms of ID, but these two forms of ID are very specific. So it's not like just a driver's license and a social security card, which every US citizen should have. It's like you have to have this driver's license and this other ID that nobody's ever heard of. And often you don't even need a driver's license, a social security card. You can show up with just a bill to prove you live somewhere, and it will the vote will at least be taken. There's many different ways that the vote can be suppressed too, because you could easily go and vote somewhere, and then they will just say, well, your name's not on this list, so we'll give you a temporary ballot, and then that temporary ballot will just get thrown out later on.
Job done.
So that's a easy way to trick people into thinking they voted when their vote didn't count. And this is, of course, ignoring the problems with the electoral system in the United States, and how, at least for the president, your vote doesn't count anyways. I actually ran into a doctor who wrote in, he proudly said he wrote in somebody's name into the presidential vote, and this doctor happened to be an immigrant, and to be fair, I checked the immigration questions that you have to know about the United States government, and they don't actually cover the electoral system in the immigration and naturalization test, whatever it's called. So it makes sense why he wouldn't understand or know how the electoral system works. But quick recap: if you write somebody's name in there, it's possible those write-in names don't even get shown to the electors, the people that actually take the electoral votes and vote for the president. They may not even see those write-in things. They may not even see particularly who was the popular vote in their state or their district or their area. So they, except for in a few states, can vote for whoever they feel like it. So this is not, I mean, your vote for the president kind of, unless you're in one of the states where the electors have to, the electors or whatever they're called, have to vote for whoever won the popular vote. They're free to do whatever they want. Now they usually take it under advisement, but that's all it is. So that's one issue. The other issue is he wrote in the name of a Republican candidate who is not the Republican running candidate. So he wrote in the name of a Republican senator, congressman, something, a clear member of the Republican Party, but not Donald Trump, who is their candidate. So if the electorate saw that, he would just go, well, you voted for a Republican, therefore I'm going to vote for a Republican. It would be different if he had wrote in the name for an independent, or if he was trying to make a very, very complicated argument that specific person should be the candidate next elections for the president in 4 years. That makes a little bit of sense, but then there would have had to been a massive push to have that character that guy write in. I think he said he voted for John Kasich. I'm like, okay, but you, and I didn't want to get into it too much, but I was like, you do know how the electoral system works, don't you? And I don't think he did. And this is a doctor, that albeit he is an immigrant doctor too, so it makes more sense if you didn't go in the school system to not understand how the system works. And even if you had gone to the US school system, it sucks so much that you probably also wouldn't have a great excuse for why you wouldn't know how that system works. Practically nobody works for that. How did I get on this typo? Oh yeah, voter suppression. So some of the more nefarious ways that they try to suppress it is they'll close down DMVs so you can't get your driver's license. It's kind of a ridiculous argument there, but if it's a 1% difference that people are driving around without the driver's license because because of that it might very well be just a punitive, punishing way to hurt people. This, of course, also ignores gerrymandering, in which they redistrict the districts. So it doesn't matter how many people vote, their votes will always be overwhelmed by other areas that they know will vote in their favor. Or they put all the people that will vote for a Democrat in one big group, and thus only one Democrat gets elected when 4 or 5 Democratic mayors or councilmen or whatever would have gotten elected. So all of these are very complicated and tricky things that
Who knows what secret
you have to really know about.
Another round?
And it happens, and it happens on both sides, I'm sure. Politics is dirty, and it's the old joke, if you could put all the politicians at the bottom of the ocean, or no, what do you call all the politicians at the bottom of the ocean? A good start. So it's kind of an odd choice to do Oregon Trail, but I guess it's to get the point across for the New York Times. It's like people say you get, if you choose to play as a minority, you die in long wait times waiting to vote, which I'm not sure the polls actually have to stay open if there's a line behind it. I'm not sure it is just that there's any law that says they can't have a long wait line even at the beginning of the voting, and thus when the polls close, they just close the poll and send everybody home. Even if there was a law that says they have to do that, maybe it doesn't get followed. Who knows? That would be certainly a thought.
Another round?
Or even if there is a law that gets followed, maybe it doesn't get explained, so people just aren't willing to stand in line. I wouldn't be willing to stand in line. I did hear from the same doctor that it took him 12 minutes to vote, and most people were in and out of voting in less than 8. So, not that much, particularly in our area. The
shadows beckon.
There weren't many things you can vote on anyways. Just 4 or 5 elected officials, no actual proposals, or 1, 2, or 3 proposals. So it really goes to show you need to know the policies of the people you're voting for and what they're going to try to accomplish, because or what they say they're going to try to accomplish, at least, because the truth of it is that there's really no guarantee that you're going to actually be able to directly control or influence any vote otherwise. So I guess that's as much politics as I would probably ever talk about on this channel. There's certainly been some other political games. There's one where you're a Secret Serviceman jumping in front of Trump as somebody's trying to shoot him. I didn't see any reason to really talk about it though, because it wasn't much of anything there.
Do you have the artifact?
So
Job's done.
that was it. There's probably a dozen other Trump-based meme games and stuff that just throw Trump in there to see if he gets some sales. The truth is, none of them really add anything to the conversation, and that's kind of the problem. Nor do any of them really explain anything about the nor do they really explain anything about the election process. If somebody wanted to do this right, they would make a character creator and they would have it be something like Plague Inc., where you are just playing as the president, having to make decisions. And then you're really getting to a point where you're just playing Civilization. Which, honestly, that's probably the best game there. If you're into politics, play Civilization, play something like that. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare will not have cross crossplay between the Windows 10 version and the Steam version. Why? I have no idea. It seems completely retarded to use a word that people say you're not supposed to use. In the literal sense, it's retarded too. It is holding itself back for no reason. It's just crazy. It's totally crazy, and it doesn't probably mean that much either, because nobody. It's just like Microsoft itself is telling you never to use the Windows Store. They might as well just give it up completely if that's what they're gonna do. And they might as well just say, forget it. I'll just release everything on Steam only. You can't be a competitor and not have crossplay. The idea of crossplay in itself, crossplay between Xbox One and PlayStation 3, that's been going around, and we keep people keep trying to make it be an important thing that people are working towards having actually happen, but I'm not sure it's really happening.
Challenge accepted.
For the wild.
We do want crossplay, I think, on everything. I think that might be a great way to move people to PCs in general, is if you start noticing, well, all these people playing on PC are doing a lot better because they have mouses and keyboards instead of controllers. And I'm not even sure that's really how it would go down, because I don't play with a mouse and keyboard on almost any game. Everything I play with is always the Xbox One, Xbox 360 controller plugged into my PC. That's just a controller I prefer. So right now I'm playing with a mouse because this would only be slower if I wasn't, but
This isn't play.
For the wilds.
Kill this.
Job done.
So I don't know. Not really a lot to say there. I'm looking at the clock here. Let's see. Are we gonna finish all this? Let's see. Peter Molyneux's game, the trail has come out at least in the UK. So the trail was soft launched in the Philippines. It is this kind of Minecraft walking simulator game that seems unobjectionable, but also seems kind of pointless as far as the game. It actually kind of looked kind of cool. It's on iOS and Android in the UK at least. It's also either going to be released in the rest of the world soon, or already has been. If it's free, I'd probably check it out, but it is much more interesting as a example
a tale of drink with me, friend.
It's interesting because it's an example of Peter Molyneux not overshooting his mouth and promising the moon. And he's just putting out a simplistic low cell phone game.
Where shall I
and seeing how it works. And that's fun.
I'm ready to learn.
Let's see if we can just burn through all this, because I think I just want to play the rest of this by myself. I'm gonna obviously have to do a lot more here. There's still a decent amount of battle cry cards I need to play to get that 175 battle cry for 100 gold is quite a lot there, and I think I need to go back to work. The Battlefield designer has announced this Viking monster game where you play as the monster. To me, it feels like you play as a dragon, playing Skyrim right now. It's in this Viking Nordic world, and dragons and Nordic seems to make sense. You start off as a baby of that version, and then you get more abilities later on. So I think you're kind of gonna play throughout the lifetime of one. I don't know if you're gonna bounce back between different characters. They didn't say dragon, but to me it looked like a dragon. You couldn't clearly see. They took a lot of effort to hide what the creature was, and they just called it a monster. Deus Ex Mankind Divided is on Linux. It's SteamOS or Ubuntu, and you have to have the proprietary NVIDIA drivers. So no AMD video cards, no other operating systems besides Ubuntu or SteamOS. Ubuntu being somewhat based on, well, being not somewhat, but completely based on Debian, probably means you could build from Debian files and get it to work, maybe. But if you wanted a smooth and good experience, I would highly recommend, if you were going to even try this, to do SteamOS or Ubuntu. Both of which have their own limitations.
Did you bring some fish?
But honestly, don't try this. Don't try to play any games on Steam. I mean, on Linux. It just isn't there yet. One day it will be there. One day we will have that happen. Right now, we just aren't going to.
Job done.
So, like, yeah, I tried it a couple of years ago, trying to play on Steam, and there's a handful of games, but it's like playing video games from 20 years ago. It's small games, it's old games, it's fuzzy, it's troublesome. It's not as easy as installing a copy of Windows and having Steam installed and having Steam do all that work in the background that you may not know it's actually doing, as far as installing different versions of DirectX and making sure your game works as it's supposed to, and verifying files and stuff. Take-Two had a comic book division that was shut down, so that kind of sucks, but not surprising. I mean, why would a video game company have a comic book division? That seems crazy.
Want a deal?
How am I gonna do this now? Well, I don't think I am, so I'm just gonna end my turn like this way. Star Wars Battlefront is coming in 2017. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is coming in 2017. I don't know why you would buy that game. Really, Battlefront 1 was just like a handful of maps and bad playthrough. So nothing there gives me any indication that something's going to happen the way I would want it to happen. I feel that would be just a disappointment for Battlefront fans. It'd be a disappointment for Star Wars fans. Strange game. I believe it's the next Suda 51 game, or is it Grasshopper manufacturing game, and Suda 51's not actually doing it. Anyways, this game called Let It Die, which is, I believe, the sequel to the Killer 7 series, but I could be wrong. It's in that style at least. Has a cast of Mark Hamill, who was Luke in Star Wars, and Billy Dee, who was Lando Calrissian in Star Wars. And I believe there was another voice actor in it too.
Don't worry, loves. The cavalry's here.
So this is kind of shocking if true. I almost feel like this might have been said jokingly and taken seriously by a reporter. It's a little shocking that you would have major actors voice act in your game for a couple of reasons, and it might have something to do with the strike, which there really isn't anything new to say about that this week. But as far as what I saw, I bet there something did happen, but I didn't hear it. But to have major actors voice act usually doesn't work. We saw Patrick Stewart in Castlevania Lords of Shadow. That was an awful performance because of his theatrical way of reading lines. He was doing Shakespeare when this needed to be much more realistic. But it is also kind of crazy that you would have two of the major actors of at least episode 4 of Star Wars, and you would just give them these jobs.
Reinforcements be here.
Like, I have no idea.
Here we go.
Going to kill that, I suppose.
I already attacked.
And in the front. And so that eliminates everything I have to talk about. And that gives us 3 recordings, if I'm correct. And that leaves me to just kind of relax and maybe take a little bit of a day off, even though I have a ton of Skyrim that I still need to record. Take a little bit of a break as I'm sitting here trying to finish the rest of these quests. Do I feel like I'm gonna struggle massively here? Sort of. Getting a Druid or a Reaper victory is gonna be somewhat difficult, but I'll see if I can pull it off on casual, so no more ranked play. And then getting a battle cry will almost certainly happen during that. And then that will put me at 8,300 gold right now. I kind of was hoping to be at 10,000 by the time the next expansion happens. I don't think that's going to happen, though. It's going to be very, very close if that happens, because it's only a few weeks. Anywho, that's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps out. If you want to support me further, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.